Federal agencies face unprecedented challenges in managing rapid technological change and digital transformation. Traditional approaches to change management and technology implementation need help, though, to keep pace with the constant updates and new systems and shifting priorities that agencies face. Now, there's innovative solutions, however, like digital adoption platforms that are starting to really help federal agencies coming onto the market, and they help navigate the complexities of continuous transformation. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to discuss how these platforms work, how they're streamlining operations and improving compliance, and also accelerating mission readiness across the federal landscape, are Nicholas Lee Vinson, Senior Product Manager for the U.S. Army, and Carl Wright, Vice President, Regulated Industries at WalkMe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. And Nick, I'd like to start with you, if I may. I understand the Army has embarked on a significant digital transformation initiatives that have really taken a lot of momentum forward. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you're still facing in ensuring the widespread adoption of these new and rapidly changing software platforms across, obviously, a diverse workforce?
Fantastic question. One of the biggest challenges with the Army's IT modernization is making sure we're moving forward together quickly, but with clear communication from the start. We focus on communicating early and often so everyone stays aligned. And because we have such a diverse workforce, managing expectations along the way is key. It means balancing the technical advantages of new tools with how they're actually working for people on the ground. We've also moved from a traditional waterfall development model to a more agile, continuous integration and delivery approach. So, this shift is essential for keeping up with change. So, instead of rolling out one big rollout, we start with a minimal viable product or an MVP and build from there along the way. So, we get real time feedback from users, which is invaluable. Take, for example, the Accessions Information Environment, AIE. We work closely with beta testers who tell us what's working and what isn't, so it helps us make improvements to fit their actual workflows. This has really helped us to manage change better, and it shows people that these tools are evolving and genuinely need their support for mission accomplishment. It's definitely an evolving process, but involving end users early and adapting based on their insights, we're able to build on that momentum and reduce resistance to change. It's really rewarding to see our people empowered with the tools that truly make their jobs easier and strengthen the overall mission.
So, Carl, can you briefly describe what digital adoption platforms are and how are they fundamentally changing how organizations accelerate digital adoption? And also, why do you liken these dApps to like the kinds that WalkMe makes to being a kind of a GPS for software adoption?
Great question, Wyatt. And it's one we get often when we're talking about digital adoption platforms. So, first and foremost, we like to use an analogy to describe what a digital adoption platform. And that we use the analogy of imagine if you're driving to the city, if you're driving into DC, nobody just hops in the car anymore and drives into the city. They typically pull out an application like Waze or Google Maps, and they're going to type in their destination, and that's going to guide them in the quickest, most efficient manner to get and arrive to their destination safely. So WalkMe is very similar in that we guide users through complex workflows inside all of software, sometimes across software platforms, in the quickest, most efficient manner. And more importantly, we overlay on top of it. So we're an overlay solution, which is often confused as integrating with software. We overlay on top of it like a contact lens. So we sit on top of live applications and give users real-time guidance and context to make decisions quicker. Now, why this is important and directly contributes to the DoD's goals in keeping their technological superiority is this: we've maintained a legacy approach of relying upon classrooms and job aids, and they've been great, but they're minimally effective when you're talking about the constant and rapid change of technology, whether it's new people coming into mission or the technology is updating or things are changing inside that technology, policy changes. That sends everybody back to the classroom, and you got to go update all those job aids. So digital adoption is a modern approach, a modernized approach, or we often say the much needed change in change management that is a real-time approach that does three key things for the DoD. It addresses three very large challenges that we've been trying to solve for the generations that I've been supporting the mission. And that is, these systems are super complex, they're critical to workflows, are often very difficult, and they're sometimes hard to adopt and use at the end user. We hear this pervasively, right? So guiding them through those systems in the quickest, most efficient manner across multiple applications is addressing that. And then also the ability to address the multi-generational workforce that we see in the DoD, whether you're 18 years old from Mississippi or you've been in the mission for 46 years and you're getting ready to retire. We have to stop looking at technology in classrooms and job aids from the viewpoint of everybody must reskill, cross-skill, upskill to rise to the level of the technology. WalkMe provides a unique approach in kind of addressing the multi-generational workforce by hand-holding them through the process as much or as little as they need.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Nick, back to you. How are you using digital adoption platforms, and how are they helping the Army reduce friction in mission critical workflows and also enhancing the employee experience and their productivity?
I love digital adoption programs for everything that Carl said. It's really taken out of the classroom, keeping updated with, current ever evolving technology. Now, digital adoption platforms are something we are actively exploring, especially for their forward-looking value in enhancing training and user experience well into the future. While we don't have these platforms widely implemented yet, we're definitely looking at all the options because they could definitely make training more efficient, lower support needs, and provide a seamless user-centered experience. Combined with an intuitive, human-centered design, adoption platforms are key to future-proofing our software where we can rely on it for the next 20 years and beyond. I think the real value of these platforms to our users is how they provide guidance exactly when and where it's needed, right within the application itself. So this is in the moment assistant. It really reduces the frustration that can come with learning new systems, especially for people who may not have the technical background. Additionally, users can complete tasks more confidently and independently without relying on extended training sessions that pull them away from their core responsibilities. So by making the process is simpler and more intuitive, these platforms really allow our people to focus on mission critical tasks.
So, Carl, I get how these platforms really kind of help accelerate training, but can you talk also about how they help agencies balance things like AI's potential to enhance innovation with, with things like the need for compliance or proper governance, responsible use, and how they also help manage risk?
Yeah, another great question. AI is at the forefront of every conversation of every event that you go to right now in the DoD. It's a hot ticket item. People are every platform has a co-pilot that they're working with, some sort of AI assistance. It's the new and latest thing. WalkMe's taken a unique and different approach to this from multiple levels, and I'll address them here. Number one, shadow IT or shadow AI. Right. So getting visibility into the multitude of tools, and AI tools there's a new one every day. So, from the standpoint of it's easy to blacklist these things and shut them down on the domain. But in this new generation of a workforce, just simply blocking them without any explanation when they're just trying to use the tool to do their job better, smarter, faster, in a race, a technology arms race where AI will be an added advantage for the warfighter. So how do we leverage this without falling outside the lines? And WalkMe uses this approach of governance and guardrails. So we can peer into the tech stack, we can see what users are using, right? What AI they're using. And instead of just saying them no, you can hit them with a WalkMe shout out, some content that says, listen, this is not an approved tool. You can fill in some information why you may need it, but more importantly, we're going to divert you. The Army will then divert you, or the Navy will divert you over to an approved AI tool that they have inside, whatever they're leveraging, right? And then from there, again, with the multi-generational workforce, sometimes not everybody knows how to use AI, and AI can hallucinate, right? So, you have to know how to use the tools given to you again. So WalkMe actually helps us internally at WalkMe leverage AI in our day-to-day job, where it's helping me properly prompt the AI so that I'm not getting an incorrect answer spat back out at me. So, from governance and guardrails to shadow AI and uncovering that to really helping users leverage the AI in the most effective way. That's really where WalkMe shines and differentiates from the masses of AI solutions out there.
Really fascinating. So Nick, I'm curious, I know you mentioned you're still in kind of the exploratory and piloting stage, it sounded like, but can you share any quantifiable results or success stories so far that kind of demonstrate the impact on user proficiency or data accuracy or just operational efficiency within the Army because of these tools?
So while we haven't deployed digital adoption platforms in the Army yet, we're excited about the potential we've seen in other industries where DApps are proving to be game changers. Sectors like healthcare, finance, and retail, they've all reported impressive results. So these platforms better guide users through processes, enhancing their data accuracy, and drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to train their users, which are all critical improvements we envision would be greatly beneficial to our mission essential workflows as well. Additionally, they are particularly effective at providing real-time guidance right within the applications, allowing users to learn by doing. So this is huge. This on-demand support minimizes the need for intensive upfront training, making onboarding smoother and helping users become proficient faster. So for example, as we've observed in other industries, these platforms can significantly reduce the number of user errors by guiding the users through each task step by step, which improves data accuracy and overall efficiencies. With platforms like this, and as we continue developing the Accessions Information Environment, AIE, we're already seeing how timely user support and intuitive design can drive productivity. Uh, we're optimistic about these platforms as they could extend the benefits by creating a user-centered experience that supports Army personnel in real time and reduce the amount of time spent on our repetitive process a lot of times. This ultimately leads to more confident, capable users. So we definitely look forward to seeing how this technology can help streamline our workflows and empower our people to work more effectively and efficiently.
Terrific. Finally, Carl, as you survey the landscape here, can you comment on why these platforms really bring a new dimension to what you might say is closing the gap between new and iterative technologies and how realized value and how they provide actionable insights for data-driven decision making?
Absolutely, Wyatt. So let's start at the 30,000 foot level. So starting at the tech stack level, right? WalkMe gives you the ability to peer across the entire tech stack. So again, as I mentioned earlier, shadow AI, shadow IT, what are people using, where they're using them, and more importantly, going a layer deep into those applications, how they're using them. We acquired technology X for this feature and functionality. Are people actually using it? And if they're not, can we drive them to utilize it? So kind of guiding them to use best practices and the technology and the vision to which the mission acquired it. But going a layer deeper, as Nick was pointing out, helping people through these workflows in the quickest, most efficient manner, and really finding out, where the friction is, because you can't fix what you can't measure. And right now, there's a lot of reliance on survey technology, asking people and users what's wrong, where's the friction at, and anecdotally, some of that evidence that you pull out of that is helpful, but a lot of it can be kind of just venting from the end user in a lot of cases we find. So actually giving an authoritative data source to the mission to actually sit down, rationalize software contracts with major vendors saying, you're saying we're using X. We have an authoritative data source that says we are not using all of what you're saying, so you can renegotiate software contracts. Number two, you can baseline and measure every workflow that the warfighter has to perform. Think of like a PFT, like sit-ups, push-ups, 5-mile, 2-mile run, whatever you're doing. Why are we not looking at technology in this way? Why are we not baselining and measuring and improving for all my Lean Six Sigma black belts out there, creating the greatest amount of efficiency in every workflow and every element of the day-to-day of the warfighter and what they're doing? So when you see that and you can measure as is, make improvements, demonstrate quantifiable improvement in efficiency and productivity, but as Nick pointed out, reduction in errors. We can't help you with your bad data, but we can definitely create an event where a post data event where we find that most of the data, improper data or data fed upstream and downstream, is coming from people, humans, fallible people. So, how can we ensure that they're entering in the correct data the first time without stopping them in the workflow? And really just the net benefit to the warfighter is, eliminating operational drag associated with uptake of new technologies. The change is just constant. The rotation of leadership, the rotation of ideas, the updates in the technology, it can become cumbersome and overwhelming and really impact the cognitive load of the warfighter. So imagine for the first time, and this is the big kind of idea here, digital adoption platforms are helping the mission separate the warfighter from the tech stack, meaning the mission can field, try, and buy as much technology as they need that serves the speed of the mission without impacting the cognitive load of the warfighter, meaning teach them to do their job, and through relying on WalkMe to walk them through the processes, no pun intended, uh, you know, when you're talking about migrating from a legacy technology to a new modernized technology, we have great use cases where you train them on the old system, and when you're ready to migrate them, they're greeted with WalkMe and the 10 things that they would do in this system. So literally the anxiety and the change fatigue goes way down, especially from the most stubborn folks that are resistant to change. So across that, you know, that's really kind of disrupting the whole approach of how we inject technology into mission without impacting the warfighter. And I think that's super compelling. And most of the brass that we talk to and the opportunities that we get to brief, they find it they call it a Gordian knot kind of approach to solving this problem we haven't really been able to move the needle on with sufficiently with classrooms and job aids. Not saying those things go away. There'll always be a need for those things, but we have to adapt and overmatch our adversaries. And doing it in the classroom is not, it's proven to be challenging as the way forward and the dominant way forward.
Well, given how quickly technology keeps changing and really how quickly we need to adapt in today's age compared to just a few years ago, this kind of approach certainly seems game changing and a real enhancer to the user experience and help building confidence and really a better understanding and faster learning all the way around. So it's exciting to hear about this. Well, Carl Wright, thank you for joining us and sharing about these adoption platforms. And Nick, Vinson, thank you for sharing your perspective on how you see them unfolding at the U.S. Army. Looks like we have a lot to look forward to here. So thank you very much, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.